just gonna resume this one. I don't know how. Does that look okay? Does this look awkward if I like? It's on the chair.
I think it's okay.
Okay. All right.
Well, here we are. Viewers.
First time.
Oh man. So.
First time's always awkward.
It is. But, you know. This is the DJ Nick podcast.
DJ Nick, talk about stuff. You can get to us at djnicktalkaboutstuff.com or nickandDJtalkaboutstuff.com.
You can. That's where we're at.
Mm-hmm.
But for our viewers, please go to djnicktalkaboutstuff.com.
You can also go to nickandDJtalkaboutstuff.com.
Also true. So, this being our first podcast, I figured I'd introduce myself. My name is DJ.
My name's Nick.
Okay. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I think that's all the context you really got to give.
Yeah.
Nick and DJ. Now, the backstory isn't really relevant there. It doesn't. We don't really require the backstory.
Yeah. So, you want to talk about some stuff?
Let's talk about some stuff.
All right. This just popped into my head.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about, like, leadership?
Leadership. So
you look like a good leader. I figure you might
Thank
want to say some stuff about leadership.
So I personally believe that, you see all these podcasts or all these, forums, books about leadership. And I think that those can be helpful. I don't want to say, some people don't got it, some people do got it. Because, it can definitely be a learned trait. But I think the most important thing is just experience. The honest try and the honest fail. And, also learning through experience as well. We're all going to have those poor leaders. We're going to have those really good leaders. I personally think that we grow more from bad experience with leadership than good experience with leadership. I think that, we get too comfortable when we have a really good leader. And I feel like we stop. It just becomes so easy, so comfortable when you have a good leader.
I've heard, good leaders create weak men.
Mm-hmm.
Weak leaders create good men.
Yeah, I think that's very true.
Something like that.
I think bad leaders create strong leaders. I think that is honestly how it works. You learn so much. You learn so much from a bad leader.
You learn what not to.
Exactly. The same thing that you could use that expression with a lot of things. If you have bad parents, typically you're probably going to be a good parent because you learn from their mistakes. You learn from their awful mistakes and whatnot.
You got a handle on that?
Yeah, I got an actual hand on that.
Okay.
For our video viewers.
Yeah. Okay. So I playing off what you're saying, I feel like experience is definitely required for leadership.
100%. Yeah.
All that stuff. However, I feel like there comes a point to where past experiences don't necessarily dictate future success.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times people get stuck in their ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, when I was your age, we did things this way. When I went through it, we did this way.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, one thing with leadership, I feel like, yes, experience gets you like a foot in the door if you've already had that problem before.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of times in organizations, new problems come up that haven't been solved before. And so it's like, you can maybe take some past experiences and help them. They could help you confront these new challenges. But, there's this guy I listen to on YouTube. Shout out Makers Movement. He's a He's a scout sniper who turned into a fieldcraft kind of guy. He makes all these like things like for hunting and fishing and just little crafts. And if you look at the guy, he looks like one of those like, oh man, I don't want to offend him, but he looks like one of those like woodsman dudes who's like, you know, if this was like in the Middle Ages, he would be like the wise, crazy wizard in the woods, or maybe not a wizard, but he's just into stuff, and he's like really kind of eccentric, and he's really smart too. And he makes beer, and he makes all these things, and if you look at him and you didn't know his background, you'd be like, what's this guy? He's like kind of weird kook in the woods. But no, this guy was like a scout sniper. He led this, what is it, mountain warfare training up in Bridgeport. And he like knows his shit. But anyway, one of the things that he says, I watched one of his early videos, and he was talking about how like in order to keep growing, you got to constantly be learning and constantly have that humble attitude. And he talks about like, even though he's been in the wilderness, been out and like doing survival things like a million times, he's like, every time I learn something, even if I take someone new who doesn't really know anything, I learn something from them. And he's like, and he said it in a very humble way, like, hopefully they can learn something from me. And it's like, I feel like a lot of times that posture of like, hey, even though he has so much fucking experience and he like knows his shit like more than most people, he's so humble and he's so like non-imposing, and he's so receptive to like what the environment has. And I feel like you maybe might have to be that way if you're like dealing with the wilderness and like survival things, because it's like, even though you know your shit, like Mother Nature can be so harsh. And so I feel like that just kind of is like got ingrained into his personality. But like, yeah, he's so humble, and he's the fact that a leader can learn from the experienced people and from new people, I just think is a mark of a great leader. I wish I could have been in his course. Shout out. I don't even know his name. I'm gonna go look his name up, tag him in the
you bring up like in the grand scheme of things, that's like a perfect image, right? You know, your leaders are constantly learning how to be better leaders through their experience as well. You know, once you're a subordinate, and then you learn, you become a leader, and then you're still learning how to become a leader at that point. You know, by leading. I can get that. So how do you kind of brought up, back in my day, that kind of stuff. So you've been through intense training. You've been through all of that. You've been to tons of schools. What do you think? Where do you think we draw the line of putting somebody through something just because we had to go through it? You know what I mean? Almost like hazing. It happens sometimes. We look at something, it's like, oh, well, I had to do that, so that's why you got to do it. It's part of becoming this, or becoming, this is how it works. This is what we do. And I'll just say it because I personally feel like if you can prove the outcome or show why it needs to be done, then perfect, I get it. But I feel like with a lot of things, we get caught up in like, oh, it's just the way it is. That's just how we do it. And that's like back in my day, oh, you guys had it so easy. And so it's kind of like, do we need to do this old stuff because it's just tradition, or it's just how it is, or is it beneficial? Do we need to start changing things?
Whatever training you have needs to serve a purpose. Whatever like instruction needs to have a purpose. It shouldn't be like, oh, yeah, just because this is the way it always was. Do you know the story of the monkey in the trees?
I'm sure it's similar to a lot of these old stories of like, why do we do these actual things?
I gotta tell you this story real quick. Like, so basically this monkey shows up into this enclosure, and he's hanging out with the monkeys, and they're doing an experiment, and there's bananas on the top of this tree. And so the new monkey, he goes up and climbs the tree, and he gets sprayed with a hose, like really hard. And he gets sprayed off the tree. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, what the fuck was that? And he tries again. He gets sprayed with the hose. And then, another new monkey comes in, climbs up the tree, gets sprayed with the hose, and eventually the monkeys learn that like going up the tree is like bad, and like so they, if the next monkey that comes in, they'll like beat the monkey to keep him from like going up the tree.
No, that's a perfect example of it. Yeah. There's another story like that. It's military related. So there's a army camp or whatever, army post, and there's this bench, and the bench is constantly guarded at all times. 24/7. It's like the two you don't know, and it's happened for years and years and years, and new commander comes in and he says, "Hey, why are there people guarding that bench?" And they're like, "I don't know. We just do it. We've just always done it. We've always guarded the bench. I mean, there's somebody to guard the bench night and day."
Yeah.
And so the commander starts researching, and he gets to like 5 commanders back, and he's like, "Hey, why are there still guys? Why do those guys guard that bench?" And the commander says, "Oh, is the paint still not dry?" like they were guarding it for the whatever. Right. But it's exactly like that. Like, why are we doing these things? What's the overall outcome? Can we sit down and can we say, oh, and that's kind of a huge part of leadership. I think we want to tie it back in. Is being able to say, why are we doing this? What's the point? Can we improve these processes? Can we make them better? Can we start doing something else?
Yeah, and I think what you're getting at is like, challenging the status quo, challenging the thinking of like, okay, I get it. This is the way things have always been, but we need to improve upon that. We need to maybe get away from that. We need to keep evolving and stuff like that. But in that same vein, I feel like you have to have that humility of like, even though I did this perfect the last time, and even though I am experienced, I need to still have a humble attitude and be open to the fact that I don't know everything.
Yep.
And like this new challenge that may come my way, whatever task it is, it's like, yeah, I may have a leg up. Yeah, I may know most of how to do it, but there's still probably some little thing that you could do that make it a little bit better. That constant improvement thing, but you got to be humble enough to even be open to taking criticism, open to taking feedback. And I feel like a lot of times people want to say, we did it this way, this is the way, this is the only way, let's make a rule, and this time, it's like people want to make rules so that the shit is easier. It's like you don't have to think, you just follow the rule. You need to, it's this is why a lot of people say like the why, Simon Sinek, he talks about the why. Start with why. If you're going to build a brand and start a company, you need to have a strong why. If you have a strong why, it'll help you forge through and like develop the what and how to get the shit done. But like just having arbitrary rules based on past experiences, I feel like they kind of need to be pressure tested, and after a while those rules get stale and you need to keep evolving. But I definitely feel like it's human nature to like be like, here's a rule, everyone do this, don't do anything else.
And you know what, I also, you start to throw some weird stuff in the mix too when you start to change things up though, especially when you have a hard training and suddenly that hard training is gone. And so it's like, why did I go through that hard training? And should I hate the new guys because they didn't go through that hard training? Should I treat them differently because they had a different experience? Yeah. Are they the same as me? Are they not? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that brings up something, it just made me think of like the cyclical nature of like just shit, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. It's like the thing about hard leaders or bad leaders are so bad that the guys have to rise to the occasion. They become good leaders, and they're good leaders, and their guys under them, they just rely on the good leader, and they just assume like, oh, he's just always there. And when they get to a leadership position, they didn't have to develop any of those skills, so they kind of suck, and it's that cycle thing. And I think the same thing with like new guys. Like if you've been through a hard experience, you should be in one of the things that in a leadership environment, you should try to create a thing where you can learn off of each other. And a guy who has been through a lot of shit, obviously that guy is someone you should listen to. We used to like regard our elders as being these masters of wisdom and stuff. And I feel like now with technology and stuff, they're not like that much relied upon.
Mm-hmm.
They need help in a lot of ways. But I think, you know, history has a way of repeating itself in that, you know, kids nowadays, we like Gen Z, the younger people, like they're born with, you know, technology and they know that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But now their social skills are a little bit lacking and they're kind of evolving in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the customs and courtesies of an older generation that they just, you know, they could go into a store and, or just, if they found themselves in like like they got a flat tire on the side of the road, you know, they would know how to flag someone down and talk to them and be like, hey, help me.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do this for me? And they just get it all going. Whereas you take a Gen Z person, gets a flat on the road, they need their cell phone, they need to call their mom,
mm-hmm.
they need to, you know, I feel like you gain skills, you lose skills, people evolve, and I feel like sometimes you have to relearn the lessons of the past in a new light after you've forgotten them after a while.
Do you think we're getting weaker and softer as a society, or growing more mature as a society? I mean, I can play devil's advocate. I think we're like, you can look at it from both sides here. I mean, yeah, we're growing. You could say, you know, because I mean, like cancel culture, all that stuff. You know, like everything's getting canceled. You know, everything has a hidden meaning. Everything's, you know, it has a deeper meaning. You know, you could look at that as, you know, like getting softer, or I mean, you could look at it as, you know, growing more mature. You know, not as barbaric and, you know, saying whatever you want and getting away with it, that kind of stuff. You know, you know, the same as, you know, how we talk to each other and, you know, banter in the workplace. You know, those sorts of things. I mean, it's becoming, you know, you always hear, you know, our parents talk, or, you know, even us talk, you know, about, oh man, I used to do that, but now it's a felony or something like that. You know.
Yeah, I'm like vibing, like, yeah, I think like, yeah, like.
It's a good question, right? That was a pretty good one.
It's a good question. I think one of the major things that makes us, like, it's rough, like, yes, we are progressing
mm-hmm.
in that, like, we have morals, we can clearly look back on, like, bad events in history and be like, that's bad, never going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we need to be progressive, we need to make sure everyone's free, we need to make sure no one gets picked on, no bullying, no cyberbullying, no racism, no sexism, no any isms. We're going to make rules to make sure we have a perfect society. And I feel like, yeah, that's gotten us a long way. But at the same time, I feel like kids nowadays kind of do have it rougher in some ways. And one major thing that was pointed out to me with technology and stuff is that there's nothing ephemeral. Like, what you do is being recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and you're like building a reputation. Like, the kids like now have like the term clout. Like, gotta have clout. Gotta, you know, it's my reputation.
I think
constantly posturing.
I think socially, it's gotten way harder to be.
Yeah.
You know, like a kid. It like socially, it's become so much more complex, and you know, like
it is,
and like talking about like image, and you know, like what what everybody wants to be, and you know how everyone wants to be. It's like,
and it's like
there is absolutely like no more living in the moment. It feels like, you know, especially with the pandemic. I mean, you know, the pandemic's so long, but
it's like your reputation follows you across all your socials, and like any fuck up, you know, kids, like any fuck up is gonna be. It's on your record. It's like maybe not in your, you know, your criminal history, but like people don't forget. There's images, there's voicemail, and people are just so vicious. And like, I think of like the dumb shit I did when I was like younger, and I was like, I'm glad. Like, you looking at old embarrassing scrapbook pictures. Like, I have a ton of embarrassing like dumb things where I'm like being goofy and I like just look bad.
All these scrapbook photos,
and I feel like kids nowadays, they are very conscious of their image. They don't want to look weird or or any kind of, they're paying attention to all these details having to like revolving around their image, and it's just a different thing. That it's like there's nothing, even Snapchat's supposed to be ephemeral. It's supposed to be like, oh, it's just a short little video, but like people can screenshot and they send that stuff to other people, and it's like, anything you do, it's like you're thinking about your reputation.
Oof, the camera just went off. We're back.
And we're back.
So we're talking about curating, images and whatnot. And last couple seconds, I said, how hard it is to, socially, just to be a kid, And we were talking about, how everything stays together and or stays with you. What are you doing?
I'm listening. I'm taking notes.
Why are you writing my name? Oh. Yeah, it's become increasingly hard to just be a kid socially. I think I would have. I think I'd fail if I went back in time with my consciousness now. I would fail. Or if I was a kid with my consciousness.
Your
Yeah. You know what I mean? If I could take my body and go back, like everything I know now, and go back to when I was, if I could just turn into a 15-year-old and go to high school.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't last. It's changed so much. It's become hard to be a kid. I think that if we talk about like readiness as a nation for if something was to happen, I think that goes going back to like what I asked. Are we becoming more mature? Are we becoming, softer, weaker? I think that as a nation, we aren't that prepared for if something bad were to happen. Like if let's just like hypothetically, like any attack or anything like that, or like war stuff. Like we've become used to the war in Afghanistan. Like we've been there 20 years almost. Yeah, exactly 20 years actually. We've been there 20 years, and it's like I feel like that's a major conflict. But like, when was the last time you saw coverage on what's going on in Afghanistan?
Yeah,
a long time ago, right? Like 10 years, something like that. Like that's been the thing. That's been like the only media covered conflict that everybody sees.
Yeah, I feel like certain parts of the military would be ready, but in the American population,
I'm talking about like being together as a nation.
Oh yeah, we're
getting through a hard time.
We're so divided.
I think we're far from that. Like we're like, like we are like very divided as like. I see all these videos of like when we killed Osama bin Laden, of how united we were. And it was like, despite any difference we had going on, anything like that, it was like that night, everyone was together. It was just like, it was just America.
Well, now it's like people are ashamed to be Americans as if we're like the bad guys doing stuff.
Do you think we're like that because there's not anything going on? You think that's what it is? Like, do you think like we don't have a reason to be Americans right now?
I feel like Americans just have it so good that like people don't have perspective, and so they're gonna learn lessons of the past. And I feel like talking about cyclical nature of things, like the rise and fall of civilizations and countries, and like people, when they jump out of airplanes and stuff, they talk about like you're going to die unless you save yourself, like unless you pull your chute. It's like we don't have to succeed as a nation. We don't have to succeed as people. We don't have to, like, chaos theory or Newton's law of physics, gravity.
You lost me.
Things tend to go towards chaos. It's a philosophical point. You have to have a certain IQ
No, got
to
it.
get what I'm
No,
what
that
I'm
makes
putting
sense.
down.
I get it.
No, we just tend towards chaos, and like things tend towards chaos, and it's like,
Do you think that's true though? I mean, doesn't everybody
fuck yeah.
I mean, doesn't everybody? I mean, well, obviously not everybody, but I mean, like I want peace. Like I want to be peaceful. Like, do you think like subconsciously I just want there to be chaos? Is that why people? Well, I guess people watch dramas and whatnot because they like chaos.
No, but I feel like the human nature. It's like I need food, shelter, resources. I'm going to take. I'm going to get what I can get. It's amazing that we get along the way we do.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like before, there used to be a lot more bloodshed over everything, and now it's like with guns and stuff, it is easier.
Well, yeah, the human race has grown very peaceful.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's amazing where we're at right now, like where we have a reasonable peace. But I'm just saying it's like people are selfish. Mm-hmm. People are gonna try to be successful and try to like one up each other, and it's just we don't know what we have. Mm-hmm. You don't know what you have till it's gone.
No, yeah, that makes
what I'm saying?
Yeah. And do you think that the hard times that the past generations have gone through have created a weak generation for us?
Do I think that because of them they've
I just did a
weak?
Big old loop around, didn't I? You like that?
Yeah, I feel like we've done it to ourselves too in certain ways.
You brought up earlier, hard times create, hard times create tough people, and then however the saying goes,
tough times create tough people.
Tough times create tough people, and
you don't.
Tough people create soft times, and then soft times create soft people, and then soft people creates tough time. You know that saying?
Yeah.
However it works?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you think that, we're living in that soft time?
Yeah, I mean...
And, it's just like we're just waiting for whatever to happen next to make us tougher again, per se?
Yeah, and what's interesting, too, is like... we haven't had any major wars or anything close to big happening on the home front. Mm-hmm. But COVID happened.
Yeah.
I feel like we did not handle that shit well.
I don't think, as a race, I don't think anybody handled that well. I don't think,
we didn't crush it. We didn't be like, yeah, we handled it like crap.
Yeah, and I don't, you try to think back to when, there's been serious viruses over the last 20 years. But I mean, it's never gotten this bad. Where was the break in the chain on this one? It's like, and we could point fingers and blame all day, but I mean, like, the response worldwide was not great. Yeah. I feel like we're getting our feet in the ground now with the whole, the vaccination, and, if we get to a certain percentage of vaccinated members of society, then, we can pretty much eliminate the virus.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's hard to get at the truth of what happened. Mm-hmm. The term fake news. It's like, you're fake news. No, you're listening to fake news.
Yeah.
And then, but it's even under that, it's hard to get at what is really going on with incentive structure of like newspapers, or not newspaper, but just media and news in general. It's like they're not incentivized to tell the truth. They're incentivized to produce a popular story that's going to get a lot of clicks and likes, and it's like, it's going to be harder and harder to get at the truth of things. But maybe this is how it's always been. It's just we have this perspective now.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. It's a good look on it.
Yeah, but yeah, we're definitely not a cohesive nation.
Yeah, no, not at all. I think we are living in that soft time. If I'm being completely honest, I think we're not. I think we are just like that kind of softish time. I'm not saying we're not making progress, socially and economically, that kind of thing. I just think that we're just like we're kind of like, how do I want to say this right now? Like, we're kind of just waiting around, And it's like there's nothing going on, so we're gonna picket each and every minute thing that's wrong with our society and blow it out of proportion.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and I also think, like, you know, with COVID, it's like people have been talking about going back to normal. It's like, oh, normal's never going to be the same. And it's like, yo, we fucked this up so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we will have peace for a while, but the next disaster that comes through, we're going to handle it even worse. I don't think we're going to handle it better. I think, especially like politically, it's like, you know, political, not chess pieces, but like political sledgehammers. It's like when Trump did this, it's like he handled it so bad, we're going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then now that Biden's here, it's like he's going to say, we should do things this way. We're going to do this.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe we should just kind of stick towards the middle. But like we swing from side to side. It's like the fuck ups that Trump had we're like trying to fix, and like people are overcompensating the other way. And it's like, yeah.
So you said swinging towards the middle. Like, I would argue that swinging towards the middle, like, is in like a, because what I heard you just say makes me think of centrism. Like,
what's wrong with centrism?
There's a whole lot wrong with centrism, honestly. So, and we've all met these people that are like, I don't really care either way. I honestly, like, that's partially how I am sometimes. Just, I don't really care either way. I could see why these people are arguing on both sides, but I'm not going to pick one. You know, so it's kind of like you're almost saying, I can see that there's bad things and something's not working around me, but I'm not going to give like a tip, or I'm not going to give my input on it. I don't know how we can fix it. I'll admit that there are some things that need to be fixed, but I'm not going to sway to either side because I'm comfortable and I live in this life, and that's it.
I don't think it's that. I don't think it's apathy. I think it's like centrists realize that both sides have good points. Certain issues are important here.
Yeah, but how we operate, how does that get anything done? You know, how does being a centrist get anything done? You know, like if you have 2/3 of people, right? If you have 3 people, if we had a third podcaster sitting with us, and it's like me and you were trying to decide on something, and it's like one of us either has to we have to compromise and meet in the middle. Well, maybe we should just meet in the middle on things.
Or maybe we shouldn't ping pong back and forth through things. Like, centrists, I feel like, aren't going to be like hardcore Republicans or hardcore Democrats, because they're like, yo, if the election was long, if like, you know, if there was a 20-year period of Republicans, I mean, would you want a Republican right-wing government for 20 years?
Yeah, I wouldn't want it either way, honestly. I wouldn't want Democrats for 20 years.
It's like both have good points.
Oh yeah, I mean, I can sit there and be like, wow, I can really see why they're saying that. But I think that it's the responsible decision is
to ping off that pong.
I mean,
it's like, yeah, Republicans have it this time.
You know, I don't.
Actually, no, Democrats have it this time.
I think that's the environment we've been pushed into. You know,
totally.
It's one way or the other. Like, that's what it feels. I mean,
I don't want to pick a side. I don't want to play a game.
But
I'm going to be right down the middle. Yeah, you got some good points. Oh, you're mad at that. Okay, yeah, I see how that's bad. Oh, you're mad at this. Oh, yeah, I see how that's bad. Oh, you want these freedoms. Okay, yeah, I want those too. It's like, think about this. Politics weren't even that big of a deal, I feel like, when we were kids. Now, kids younger are like all about political bullshit.
All right, back to what we were talking about.
You're saying centrism is like you don't stand for anything, I'm saying you have to pick a political. You have to pick a political side. I'm saying like politics weren't that big of a deal, but now they're like, you're such a big deal. all the celebrities are about politics.
Yeah, that's
Everyone's
weird, isn't it? I think it's
all
weird.
the media is about politics. Oh, the Republicans are doing this. Oh, the Democrats are doing this. The liberals, the right wings, the fucking racists, the fucking sexists, the fucking hippies.
Don't you think it's weird though that like celebrities are like have gotten into politics a lot more? And it's like, well, here's why I think it's weird.
It's like
strong
arming into people.
People are so they're just so easily influenced, and it's like, you know, I'll just throw it out. I don't know if he's actually gotten into politics or anything, but it's like John Mayer, you know, telling you to vote for somebody. I just say John Mayer because it's my favorite, you know, singer ever, and I feel like my amount of love for John Mayer could outrules whatever hypothetical situation. But anyways, yeah, John Mayer comes out and, you know, says something, you know, but political, or like, oh, vote for this person, or vote for this person. But at the same time, I'm kind of like that somebody's going to be influenced by that. But I'm like, what the fuck does John Mayer know about politics? What the fuck does John Mayer know? Like a songwriter, somebody who's done music his entire life.
It's about your platform. Are you using your platform for good? You need to be. You need to use your platform for good. You know, people got so pissed at LeBron James. They're like, shut up and dribble. And it's like, that's racist for you to say that. He can have a voice. It's like, yeah, he can have a voice. John Mayer can have a voice. These people can have a voice. Everyone has a voice. But I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying he should shut up and dribble. I'm not saying John Mayer should shut the fuck up. I'm saying, like,
I think we should urge people to, instead of telling them who to vote for politically or supporting, I think we should encourage people to go out there and learn and find their own beliefs.
People think they know.
That's true.
Like, I don't think, you know, it's really condescending when people say, "Oh, you just need to be educated. You just need to learn. You just don't know." That's the reason you did that shit was because you just don't know. It's like, we never know enough. We're not going to know enough to like make the perfect decision and all this shit. I feel like if anything, older generations, bringing it around full circle, older generations had a humility to them of, they said, I don't know it all.
Yeah.
I feel like celebrities, a lot of the celebrities that speak out, they don't really have that humility where it's like, hey, I don't know everything. Like, if a celebrity was like, listen, I don't know everything, but like, I like this person because I think they're doing something good, and you know, politics are rough, but I think you should vote for this. It's like, I would respect that person's opinion so much. Yeah. But no, they say it like, listen, bitch, you're a fucking communist if you do this. You're a fucking racist Ku Klux Klan member if you vote for this one. You know, it's like polarizing. Sure. It's like, I feel like in the olden days, people had a little bit more humility to be like, I don't know everything. Maybe this person is right. Yeah. Maybe this person, I should vote for this person. But now everyone acts like they know everything.
They're opinionated. Like, everybody's so opinionated.
And it's like, and the thing about centrism, it's like, you force people into like these political groups, and it's like, you know, for these people, abortion is like the big fucking thing. It's like, I'm not gonna do that, and I'm okay with everything else as long as this is my issue. But people are complex, and it's like, there's so many issues out there, and it's like you have to like accept a whole party's list of issues.
Yeah, you know, I kind of ragged on centrists there for a second. I should have said, I feel like being a centrist is bad in how our current, like, you know, political system works.
One more thing. I feel like we're getting told politics matter. Politics matter. Your fucking vote matters. And it does, but in another sense, it doesn't. You got to figure out your shit. You got to go find a job. You got to do good in school. You got to be good to your family. You got to take care of the things you can take care of. worrying about politics and like, oh no, this person's in power and they're doing all this shit and I need to stop them. I need to be an activist. It's like, no, shut the fuck up. Make the world a better place in your sphere.
Yeah. Do what you can.
It only recently did activism become like a thing, a worthy thing. It's like, I mean, if there's a certain issue that is really important to you, yeah, it's good to raise awareness and gain support and help mobilize people and help get shit going towards that thing. But like, you make the world a better place if you do good at your job. You make the world a better place if you do good in school and you're prepping to become like a great scientist. You're doing good if you're taking the piece of the pie that you're given and you do it to the best of your ability. And everyone feeds off of that.
Yep. No, that's true.
And I feel like it goes to that adage of like, not adage. Look at me and my words. Throwing some good words out here. No, it's like, what was that prayer? Like, Lord, help me control the things I can control, and don't give a fuck about the things I don't control. Yeah. It's in the Bible.
Right out of the Bible. Straight from the Bible. That one.
And let me know the difference between the things I can control and the things I can't control.
There you go. Yeah, that's...
the difference. Definitely. Yeah. It's like, we need to be good at what we...
Help out the people you supervise.
Exactly.
And, make sure that they're set up and that they're...
People are worried about, the big picture. It's like, the big picture will take care of itself. But the big picture is complicated. The big picture has multiple moving pieces. What is obvious is showing up to work on time, getting your job, doing your job to the best of your ability, helping those around you. That is impactful shit. Yeah. I feel like those things should be valued more than politics.
Yeah, show up to family gatherings on time, that kind of thing.
Wow, low blow.
We talked about a lot today.
Right.
We have to go
I'm
back.
actually the worst with being on time. With everything, that is one of my
show up on
weaknesses.
time and become a better contributor to society.
Yeah, kids.
Help where you can. It's a good one. That's a good one.
And don't worry so much about politics. Politics will take care of themselves.
Yeah. There's just I get on social media, get on Facebook, and it's just like everywhere, man. It's like it gives me a headache. It gives everybody who isn't super into politics all the dang time a real headache.
Yeah.
I get on there and it's like all I can breathe is freaking politics.
Well, and people think that they're like doing good by, I just need to
getting into a Facebook conversation.
I need to correct this person. I need to fix this person. They're saying something false. Fake news is everywhere. I need to fix it. It's like, okay, you can do that, but like, you're also creating enemies.
Yeah,
you do it in a mean way, and you do it in a dick way. It's like people just become more dug in and like, well, I don't give a fuck anyway, but you just pissed me off, so I'm like, fuck you.
I also don't know what do a lot of people who do these social media, like, get into an argument on social media with their relatives about, politics. What are they contributing to anything?
Well,
is the hope that you're changing their mind?
The hope is that I'm doing good by fighting the good fight.
Yeah,
I'm changing people's minds.
You're not. I mean, you're typically
they think
9 out of 10 times you're not. You're just arguing with somebody on Facebook or Twitter, or something like that. It's like what can you do past voting? That's really gonna what could I do past just going out and casting my vote that's really gonna affect the millions? Yeah. It's a good spot to end it.
I think so.
I think we went from leadership to weak society to politics. We got a lot done.
We did.
Goodbye, Nick and DJ. Talk about stuff. Followers.
So the camera went off and it didn't come back on?
No, it didn't.